Ever wonder what Marvel games were cancelled before they reached our favorite consoles? Find out in every cancelled Marvel game. Game Facts Special! We're excluding Spider-Man and X-Men games from this episode, as those characters have their own cancelled games episodes. But that still leaves the Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Daredevil, and Marvel Universe spanning games. Which is where we will start. THQ's Avengers. In 2011, THQ announced a game called The Avengers, which was set to be a first-person shooter featuring Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk. The game was in development by THQ Studio Australia and was set to be released in 2012 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 alongside the film. Avengers was set to feature a story mode and a cooperative multiplayer mode. The story mode would have seen the Avengers take on a villain called Zodiac and would have allowed players to customize their characters and level up their stats. Multiplayer mode would have seen players taking control of different Avengers and completing various missions with friends. Gameplay would have been a mix between a brawler and a shooter, depending on which hero was at play. The game was directed by Christian Daly. Daly was tired of all the third-person brawlers that every Marvel game seemed to be around that time. That led this Avengers game to take inspiration from Left 4 Dead for its first-person shooter gameplay. So, why was it cancelled? Well, developers at THQ cited financial problems as the reason. And while it is sad, we have to remember that game development is difficult and risky. The Incredible Hulk. Around the time the 1980s Incredible Hulk television show was popular on CBS, a Hulk game was announced for the Atari 2600 by Parker Brothers. Off-screen footage of the game exists, as well as a promotional advertisement comic book. Variations of potential box art designs have been photographed too. The game is best described by this catalog description, which was left unaltered. Quote, "You're Bruce Banner, alias the Incredible Hulk. Bizarre city creatures captured his girlfriend Betty, and you must rescue her. Dash through a maze of ever-moving streets and building in this unique tri-level metropolis. Climb ropes or jump down manholes to reach different levels. Pick up gamma charges along the way and become the Incredible Hulk whenever these city creatures attack. Save Betty and find the antidote that will rid Bruce Banner of this terrible curse before it's too late." 1 or 2 players. Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. Developed by 5000 Feet Inc. for PlayStation 2 and Xbox in 2003, and based on the Daredevil movie. This game was set to be a third-person action game, where players would control Daredevil and use his heightened senses to navigate levels. There were a variety of enemies and bosses, including Bullseye, the Kingpin, and the Owl Plan. The game's story was to be inspired by the comic book Elektra Lives Again, and was intended to coincide with the 2003 Daredevil movie starring Ben Affleck. The game was to be released on Xbox and PlayStation 2. Development progressed, but interference from Marvel and Sony, as well as difficulties with the game's engine, led to the game missing its release date. Ultimately, it was cancelled. Maybe if the 2003 Daredevil movie had been a success, the Moneymen would have seen reason to continue development. Footage of the game was released in 2020, and there is this magazine ad as well. Disney Infinity cancelled Marvel packs. Disney Infinity was a Toys-to-Life video game series where players collected physical figurines and used them to unlock characters in the game. Figures from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars were released for the game. Doctor Strange was supposed to get a figure in the scrapped Disney Infinity 3.0 line, and there were also plans for Guardians of the Galaxy figures. All of this was scrapped when the Toys-to-Life market took a dive and Disney Infinity was cancelled. Avalanche Software was then sold off to Warner Brothers and just released their first non-Disney game since the Disney buyout in 2005, Hogwarts Legacy. The figures likely would have worked with all versions of the game on basically every commercially available console around 2015. Zaxis Iron Man. In 2003, Zaxis, partnering with Activision, were working on an Iron Man video game for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. The game was in development alongside Zaxis' other Marvel game, X-Men: The Official Game. While little is known on reasons for cancellation, it's likely that the successful series of X-Men films led to that game taking the studio's focus, while Iron Man fell away. Cancelled. Avalanche's Iron Man. Avalanche Studios announced that they were working on an Iron Man video game in 2011. The game was planned to be released in 2012, but never saw the light of day. The game was planned to use a unique mechanic where players could customize their Iron Man suit and create their own weapons. Avalanche's project was cancelled due to issues with the game's development, and Disney Infinity may have taken priority given the Toys to Life craze around that time. There were some playable demos that were shown off at E3 in 2011. The demo lets you fly around as Iron Man in an open world, blasting enemies out of the sky with your repulsor beams and rockets. Ghost Rider. Neversoft, the creators of Tony Hawk and the PlayStation 1 Spider-Man games, had plans to work with Crystal Dynamics to develop a side-scrolling Ghost Rider game for PlayStation. The Ghost Rider villain, the vampire Lilith, would have been the antagonist for the game. Players would take the role of a new Ghost Rider and receive advice from Johnny Blaze himself. The game was cancelled when Crystal Dynamics got out of video game publishing. Marvel MMO by Dimensional Inc. First unveiled in late November 2021, the Marvel MMO was included in Enad Global 7's Q3 2021 investor presentation. At the time of the announcement, there were rumors that Sony had signed a deal with an unknown developer to create a DC Universe online-type game in the Marvel Universe. At some point, EG7 decided to shift its priorities, and the game never materialized. Little about the game has been revealed, but sculpts of the Red Skull were posted by an employee of the developer Daybreak Games, and some character creation menu concept art has leaked on social media. Guardians of the Galaxy by TT Games. In 2021, TT Games cancelled many unannounced projects, including several LEGO games for Disney. Among the casualties was a Guardians of the Galaxy LEGO game set to star Adam Warlock and Nova. Is this the end for Disney-branded LEGO games? Only time will tell. Marvel Universe Online. A massively multiplayer online game that was in development by Cryptic Studio, the developer of City of Heroes, Champions Online, and Star Trek Online. The game would have allowed players to create their own superheroes and was set to feature a wide range of characters from the Marvel Comics universe. The game was cancelled by Cryptor's publisher, Microsoft. Not long after, the project was rebooted by Marvel and a new studio, Gazillion Entertainment. Eventually, it was renamed Marvel Heroes and saw release in 2013 as a free-to-play MMORPG. The game lasted until 2016, when Disney discontinued its partnership with Gazillion. Marvel Chaos. Another cancelled game that was set to feature a unique twist on the Marvel Universe. The game was developed by Electronic Arts Chicago and would have featured a storyline in which the Marvel Universe was divided into separate factions fighting for control. Marvel Chaos was set to be a fighting game, probably similar in design to EA's Fight Night, as it was in development by the same studio for Xbox 360. Players would have created their own superhero characters and worked to rise to power within one of the factions. Marvel 2099 – One Nation Under Doom. A side-scroller in development for the original PlayStation. Marvel 2099 was set to take the Marvel Universe into the future and feature a world where Doctor Doom had taken control of the United States. Spider-Man 2099, X-Men 2099, Ghost Rider 2099, and the Fantastic Four 2099 would have all been playable. The game was announced in 1997, but was ultimately cancelled due to development issues and the developer Mindscape going out of business. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for a ton more cancelled games. Check out our recent episodes on cancelled Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman games. This is McGen signing off. Thanks for watching. This has been a GameFAQs special.